shallow water tactics will still win tournaments. It's already happened this spring. In Florida, the first open that I fished, it was one shallow. There were some live scope guys there that were in the top 10, and they were very competitive and thought they had a shot to win, but with the weather, the way that that tournament laid out, it was warming every day, and those fish were going to spawn and then come off of a cold front. So the live scope guys were doing really good early in the event as far as practice, and then the first day of the event, they did really well, but then as the weather kept warming, you saw the shallow fishermen kind of take over and win the event when it was over. I want to set out some situations for you guys to really look for. This is a big part of this seminar, so really think about this. These are the situations where you can still win shallow without a shadow of a doubt. Like, this can still happen no matter who's there live scope and how many guys. Any place that has aquatic vegetation. If there's a lot of aquatic vegetation in a place that you're fishing, it could at all times shallow hold winning bags of fish. That's whether it's hydrilla, milfoil, we're talking about lily pads in the fall, any type of vegetation in that, no matter what kind of system we're talking about, you can still win tournaments. Sight fishing, so when fish are spawning during the spawn, guys that are really good at looking at them, it's a great equalizer as well. You've got a lot of fish on the beds, they're shallow. The guys that are out there that are using the electronics and fishing offshore are at a disadvantage to you at this time of year. If you have clear water and you can look at them, being able to look at them is the same thing as what I was talking about with the live scope. You're literally picking out the biggest fish in the lake that are laying on the bank that you can catch, so it ups your odds. So sight fishing is still going to win events. Creek fishing. Creek fishing is a big deal in Oklahoma and Texas, in my part of the country. A lot of the fish early in the year tend to migrate towards those creeks, a lot of big fish. And it's a place where it's the pushing, the shoving that I was talking about earlier, doing a lot of aerial mapping as far as satellite imagery, looking at that and seeing where some of the better backwaters are. Those areas can still win tournaments, even with forward-facing sonar out there. Dock fishing. A lot of our lakes across the country have a ton of docks. I mean, a ton of docks. And in the springtime especially, and then again in the fall, there's a big migration of a lot of fish that really are not accessible on some of the big docks like marinas type places. They live underneath there year-round. It may be 100, 150 feet deep underneath them, and those fish are up underneath these big boats, and they're really not accessible to us. But once the spawn comes, they can't spawn out there. They've got to come to the bank and get behind these docks. They're just man-made obstacles, but this is a place that you can still win tournaments in this era that we live in right now with forward-facing sonar. Current-related fish. This is probably the highest percentage. So if it's on a river system, whether it's tidal driven, whether it's dam driven, any place that's got current, you don't even necessarily have to have watercolor. It can be clear water. But any place that's got current, tournaments can still be won shallow. And then the last one is high water. Anytime these man-made reservoirs where you have a flood, we get a fluctuation of water and it gets really, really high. This is my favorite, because then it opens up the whole lake. It's not just little bitty sections here and there. The fish migrate to the banks, and then any flooded cover that you have, whether it's willow trees, buck bushes, it brings in the spinner baits and the flipping and stuff like that, which is really my wheelhouse where I enjoy fishing the most.
Bass you, folks. Information is pouring over. If you want to learn more about every lake, how to fish shallow, deep, in between, skipping docks and rocks and cranking, slow wiggling, chatter, smattering, you get it at Bass U. Get on Bass U TV, check it out, sign up, be a member, be part of it, folks. Keep learning.